You wanna see what we do best?
We got the recipe for success. We don't need sight to make something good tonight. We're on in the kitchen. We're gonna show you what we got. Full of the spice of life. We're stirring up the pot. We're cooking without looking. Cooking without looking. Yeah!
Good afternoon, and welcome to our February edition of the Cooking Without Looking TV show. I'm your host, Alan Preston. Sylvia Stinson Perez, my new co-host, is in Honduras today at a teacher teaching the teacher conference. Not real sure what that's all about, but I bet we're going to find out a lot more about that at our March show. Before we get started on today's show, we want to tell you, our audience, about an exciting opportunity to obtain your very own official Cooking Without Looking merchandise. For just $55, you can have an official Cooking Without Looking apron. I want a new one. This one doesn't have pockets in it. In fact, I think it was invented before the apron was made before pockets were invented. But that's beside the point. Anyway, this is a fundraiser for our Vision World Foundation, and it helps us to continue producing the Cooking Without Looking TV show and podcast. Just go to our website at www.cookinwithoutlooking.wordpress. Let me do that again. I made a mistake. www.cookingwithoutlooking.wordpress.com and click on our PayPal link at the top of the page and send us your mailing address at our website as well, and your official apron will be sent directly to you. And remember, with just $55, you can be a happy owner of an official Cooking Without Looking apron. Okay. Now, also, I want you to remember that all of us on the Cooking Without Looking TV show are blind or visually impaired. Renee is an exception to that, but she's our producer. Let me introduce you to our first guest chef. She's an author and a motivational speaker. She's Michele Farrell. Welcome, Michele. Are you there? Whoops, did you get muted? Oh, no. Well, anyway.
All right, well.
There you are.
Thank you so much for having me. I did somehow get muted. I don't know what that was about. But thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here.
So, Michele, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey through blindness.
Oh, so my journey through blindness has been really interesting because I wasn't born blind. At about 9 months old, my grandmother realized that I wasn't seeing the way that my brother, my cousins were seeing. And so she paid really close attention to me and realized that I was trying really hard to look at things. So they took me to the doctor at 9 months old and they told my mom that I had cataracts. So I had my very first eye surgery and my first pair of glasses before I was even able to walk. And my vision stayed corrected for a really long time until I was 5 years old. And at 5 years old, I was diagnosed with cancer. And at some point during my cancer treatments, which I had off and on for 6 years, I started to develop my cataracts again. But since I was having so many surgeries, my family was like, we don't want her to have eye surgeries while she's dealing with battling cancer. And little did we know that the amount of steroids and stuff they had to pump into you during chemo caused glaucoma. And so all of those steroids that I took in the midst of having my chemotherapy caused me to develop glaucoma. And the way that I ended up finding out that something was wrong with my vision was I was sitting in class one day, and we had projectors, good old projectors. I don't even think kids
I
these days
remember
know what they
those.
are. Yeah. And my teacher asked me to read something off of the projector, and I couldn't read it. And she thought I was lying. So she sent me home with a slip that my guardian had to sign to say, like, Michele wouldn't participate in class. Well, then it turned out to be a bigger deal than I even realized at the time, because when I went into remission from cancer, they sent home essentially a letter saying, these are all the things that you have to look out for since she had chemotherapy. And vision loss was one of those things. So then they started taking me to doctors to figure out what was going on with my vision. And then they told me I developed optic nerve glaucoma and that there was pressure on my optic nerve. So then I had a series of eye surgeries to remove the pressure, and I got um, tubes in my eyes and all the good things you get when you have glaucoma. And for most of my life, my vision was fairly good until about 16, when we thought I was going to be able to. I ended up having an eye injury, and it busted a blood vessel in my eye, and it caused a portion of my vision to become really, really clouded. So that's when they told me I wasn't going to be able to drive, and my vision stayed stable for years until 2017. And they told me, okay, we need to start really talking about what your life is going to look like, because you might be totally blind by the time you're 30. And I was like, I don't accept this. I don't accept being blind at 30. So I started having more eye surgeries between 2017 and 2019 because I wanted to try to save the rest of the vision that I had. And unfortunately, in 2019, they did an eye surgery on my right eye that caused me to lose more vision. And I knew that it was a risk, but I ended up losing 80% of vision in my right eye. And so now in my right eye, it's like a nice permanently foggy day over there. So I still see light and I still see motion and I still can make out the shapes of people, but the vision in that eye is not the same. And losing that much vision caused me to become pain dependent. So I had to relearn O&M skills and learn how to advocate for myself as a blind person, which was really hard because at that same time, we didn't know that the world was going to go into a pandemic. So I'm trying to deal with like the craziness of losing so much vision so fast while also being trapped at my house. And it really, really impacted my mental health. So I started going to therapy in 2020. And then I decided at that time it would be really cathartic for me to write a book, because I knew that I'm not the only person going through the things that I'm going through. And I wanted to share my story and my experiences with other people so that people could have something to relate to, because I don't think that we talk about our challenges enough. We often kind of go through life thinking, oh, well, no one else will understand, not realizing more people can relate to you than ever before. So that's when I went on my writing journey, and I wrote my very first book called How Much Can I See? A Novel Days. And it's a fictional version of my real life where I talk about having cancer and being bullied, um, and growing up not living with my mom, and all of those painful and hard feelings I wrote into a book. And it was well received, and that really shocked me. And people were like, Michele, you should continue writing and you should continue sharing your story. And since then, that book came out in April of 2022, and I just released my third book in December of 2024. So being blind and low vision, and all the changes in my vision over the years is what led me to become an author, and it led me to want to influence people in a positive way about blindness.
You sure have come a long way through a vision loss, and now you're a published author. I haven't read your book, but I bet I will before too long. Is it available through the Library of Congress?
It's not.
Not
I
through
published.
Talking Books yet?
No, not yet. That's actually interesting because I get that question a lot. And when we, as independent authors, submit our books to NLS or other services, A, we don't really get compensation for those if you're a self-published author. But B, there's no guarantee that they'll pick your book. So I can
That's true.
send you can send your book over there. Like I have a friend who has also she has a book that's out, and she sent her book there maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and her book is still not available. So we as authors don't really have control as to whether they pick up our books or not. For me, as an Amazon author, I publish exclusively through Kindle Direct Publishing, which means that Amazon essentially owns. Um, and if I were to send my ebook to other platforms, I wouldn't be able to sell it on Amazon anymore.
Well, perhaps somebody from Talking Book Library will be listening to this, and it just may get published.
Oh, maybe I hope.
Anyway,
Like,
Michele, tell us,
yes.
what is it that you are going to prepare for us today?
Okay, Alan. So today I am making chicken wings. I love chicken. My husband and I, when we married, the common joke is in our house that I love chicken and tacos, and he loves chicken and tacos. So together we'll never argue about what we eat because it's either going to be chicken or tacos.
You could have chicken tacos.
We can have, sometimes we do, in quesadillas and fajitas and all the other things we can put chicken in. But today I'm doing jumbo wings. And before we got started, I had them in the sink and I cleaned them and I've dried them. And so now we're going to start on the stage of actually prepping and preparing the chicken wings. And for me, I like my chicken with seasoning. So I have a lot of seasonings to choose from. I won't tell you all of them, but I will tell you I've got some garlic parm. I've got some kicked up chicken. I've got some lemon pepper wing mix, some onion powder, some paprika. I mean, like I'm a flavor girl. So if you're eating chicken with me, it's gonna be flavorful and it's gonna be delicious. And then along with the chicken wings, we are gonna be having fries. So it's just a simple chicken wings and fries recipe that I'm gonna share with you guys, but I'm gonna make them the Michele way because if you ever want good chicken, in my opinion, salt and pepper is not enough. You gotta really get in there. So I start off with my Weber kicked up chicken seasoning, and I'm gonna do this first.
How do you know how much you're putting on there?
So I'm one of those people that I kind of pour a pinch into my hand and then I rub it into the wing. So you just pour a little into your hand just like this, and then you rub it into the wing.
You can tell by what you feel in your hand.
Yep. I like to know exactly how much I feel in my hands. I always keep my sink kind of empty and clear because, funnily enough, I don't like messy hands. And so, between each batch of chicken that I season, I wash my hands and then I get the chicken and then I start all over again. So, I'm getting these jumbo wings, and I love a good chicken with skin on it. Like something about the chicken with the skin. Don't just give me a breast. I like
a lot of flavor.
It does, right? Just get in there with there. I'm team chicken wing all day. And funnily enough, I have a friend who's visiting our house right now, and I came to ask him. I said, I'm going to be cooking on Cooking Without Looking today. Are you okay with having chicken wings? And the first question he asked me was, well, are they boneless? And I was like, no. And so then I talked to his wife later because his wife is one of my dearest friends. And I called her and I said, hey, I asked your husband I told him I was making chicken wings with bones in them. And she goes, I know, I know. And I said, that's the most married thing I think you've ever said to me in our friendship. Like she was like, you don't even have to explain. I know my spouse. I know that he would prefer a chicken without a bone and not me. Just give me a nice jumbo wings. Jumbo wings are cheaper.
Well, the
I
bone gives you something to hold on to while you gnaw the meat off.
That's right. That is absolutely right. That is absolutely
Now,
right.
I got a quick question for you, though. You're talking
hmm
about jumbo chicken wings. Where do
hmm
you find jumbo chickens?
At Walmart, because
Yeah?
Walmart sells everything. Yep.
Is that the next joint up on the wing without the little tip thing on it?
Yeah. So the jumbo wing, let me, is here, and you can. It's the wing before they break it down into flats and drumettes. It's just the whole wing together.
Okay, okay. I was kind of curious about that.
Oh no, please ask. And for me, when I'm cooking, even though I still have some vision, I try not to rely on my vision as much these days. So when I cook, I line my seasonings up in a very purposeful order, and then I select them according to which ones I need because I just feel like that's the easiest. It's simple. You don't get things confused. It's always really funny because every once in a while, my husband will cook for us, and then I have to say, "Honey, where are all the seasonings? Where'd they go?" And he's like, "I put them in the cabinet," and I'm just like, "Oh, husband." Where in the cabinet? They're in there. And then I have to ask him to help me find, my
If
missing
I'm not
seasonings.
mistaken, every single chef we've had on this show for the last 20 some years has pretty much said the same thing. You need to know your kitchen, you need to keep it in order so you know
Yeah,
where things are.
you
And
do.
I'm the same exact way. I have someone comes in and helps me clean, and if she moves things to the wrong place, I'm lost.
Yeah. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I I can still identify them and find them, but it's just something about order, like knowing where everything is. You can go in the kitchen. It doesn't take you long because you know where all your stuff is. And I I like order.
As an old high school shop teacher, we had a phrase that went something like, there's a place for everything and
And
everything
everything
in its
in its
place.
place. Yep.
And I've lived by that my whole life and it's worked well because, with my visual impairment.
I think it's so cool that it used to be a shop teacher.
Yeah, I really
Yeah,
did.
that's
Well, I grew
amazing.
up on a farm and when I was going through all the stuff I could do, I thought, well, I could do all this kind of stuff. Why can't I teach somebody else how to do it?
That's right.
I did it for 6 years, loved it. And then I got
I
a job where I made some money.
I joke with my friends and family that God took my vision because I wanted to take over the world. Um, when I was a kid, that's what I wanted to do. It's like I'm gonna take over the world someday, and everything is gonna be the way I want it to be. And I felt like that was practical and it made sense to me, but no one else, I guess. Oh no, did I lose you?
You know, you didn't lose us. I'm right
Okay,
here. I was
good.
wondering if you were looking for something there.
I was
Now, I
like,
think most of our audience already knows that I have a big 35-inch monitor here in front of me. But even
mm-hmm.
with that 35-inch monitor and the enhancement program I got with it, I could just barely see your figure moving around.
Oh
You look
no.
like absolutely everybody else in the world, and you're not.
Well, if it makes you feel better, my finger isn't in color.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's like it can be just your favorite shade of gray finger, if that helps you.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anything I can do to make life a little bit easier for you. When I do make chicken wings, a lot of people don't do this, but I'm big on dry your chicken. I think that when you dry the chicken, it the seasonings seep in a little better. And I have a baking sheet to the left of me where I'm putting the seasoned chicken. And I typically, I like butter. I like to grease my baking sheets with butter. Every once in a while I do oil, but something about butter just holds in the flavor. I think it's because I learned how to cook in the South, and my mother used to joke that everything in butter and bread. And so everything that I cook pretty much, if I can substitute butter for oil, I substitute butter. And I feel like when I season my chicken and it's cooking in the pan, butter just really it gets the flavors in there.
Butter
So
does have a lot of good flavor, but it has a lower flash point than the oil does.
yeah, it
You have to be a
does.
little careful with it.
Yeah, you do. I typically, when I'm making my chicken wings, I set the oven on 375 and I bake them for 45 minutes. It puts the skin, it gives a nice crisp skin, and then you don't have to worry about burnt chicken either. And chicken too. I've been making these wings long enough, but since chicken has to be cooked at like 165 degrees, for those of you who have temperamental ovens like I do, always use your meat thermometer to make sure you're not eating raw or undercooked meat.
Do you have a meat thermometer?
I do not have a meat thermometer,
Oh, no.
but 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 not for like I used to have one. I don't know. You know when you've cooked so long, I've cooked so long that I just know now, or I check it. Like you pull it out in the oven, I still have enough vision, or I call Be My Eyes, like, hey, does this still look pink in the middle? But I never bought one after mine died because I've been cooking for so long.
They
Maybe
have
someday.
very
If
nice digital thermometers that are talking.
yeah, they do.
And you just push the little button on the side, a little tactile button on it, and it tells you exactly what the temperature is. As far as I know, they're accurate.
I mean, mine used to be. I got it from IFB and I liked it a lot.
I use mine a lot in chicken and in beef, especially.
I'll be seriously, yeah.
And I'm so far I'm still alive, so I guess it's working.
I mean, I could say the same thing, and I don't use mine anymore. I joke and tell people all the time that I survived cancer solo raw and undercooked meat. It's fine.
What's wrong? It's a good
I
I hear that.
mean, because you can't be afraid to live life. So I just tell people, I survived cancer,
Absolutely.
and it's very scary to go through something like that medically. And the thing that people often don't talk about when they discuss having something like cancer is that when you're, especially when you're that young and you're doing chemo and they're having to pump all these things into your body, you become immunocompromised. So as an adult, I have so many chronic health conditions because I've had over 3 dozen surgeries in my lifetime. And so my immune system is very low. A 24-hour cold for someone else can have me down for a week. And I when I met Renee a few weeks ago, I had just started feeling under the weather. And that was probably the end of January into early February. And I'm just now beginning to feel better. And so I tell people quite often having cancer was only half of my battle. The other battle is surviving day to day because I never know if I'm going to be sick. I have a migraine disorder that I live with. Um, and the migraine disorder, like, kind of snuck up on me. And so I had no idea that I would be dealing with that at this time in my life. And then I deal with like chronic nerve pain and things from having my abdomen sliced into so many different times. So I tell people quite often that, if you meet somebody who is a cancer survivor or a survivor of anything, always take to heart that sometimes we go through more than just cancer. When I went into remission, I for 3 years. So for the first year, every 3 months, I had to go to the hospital for testing to make sure that the cancer didn't go back. And then the second year, it was um, twice. And then the third year, I only had to go once. But they periodically do like long-term follow-up studies on me just to make sure that I don't have any cancers anymore. Because once you've had it, you can get it again. And
It's
my
something that'll follow you through your whole life, right?
yeah, and my grandfather's sister um, had colon cancer. And so we have, some cancerous genes in our family anyway, so it's very like I never take life for granted. I never
Absolutely.
take any kind of day for granted, and I encourage people to, when you're living, like truly embrace it. Don't let the small things stop you from living your
Right.
best life. And
What is it you're doing there, Michelle? I'm not real sure. I can see you moving around, but that's about all I can tell.
okay, so I have been seasoning the chicken. And as I seasoned the chicken, there's a pan to the left of me that you can't really see because my kitchen has no counter space. And it's on the stove, and I am arranging the pieces of chicken on this baking sheet as I season them.
Just a
And
regular
so,
baking sheet, right?
yep, it's just a regular baking sheet.
You coat it with anything?
Butter.
Butter. That's right. I remember you saying that.
Yep.
So,
And I'm actually about to season the last two pieces of chicken. Oh, I lied. Three pieces of chicken. And then
your list of seasonings is in the recipe in that they can get online at Cooking Without Looking, right?
yes. So in the recipe that I provided, it's just salt and pepper because that's the recipe I had. Um, but I personally add more seasonings because I like them. But the recipe is salt. It's simple salt and pepper, or season it to your taste. I lost my towel. I
Nice
lost
thing
my.
about cooking, you can always be creative.
Yeah. And you never really know what's going to be a hit because there's so many seasonings. I lost my towel. There's so many combinations of seasoning, and I have a friend who he doesn't like spice at all. And so I slowly introduced him to spice by just adding like chili powder and like a pinch of cayenne and just little things. And so after I cooked for him for a few months, he was like, I'm starting to like spice now because you slowly introduced me to spice. I think that so many people overdo it um, with seasonings, and we don't always know. I know people who like salt. I'm not a salt girl. I don't really cook with a lot of salt, but I do know people who like salt. My main seasonings are um I buy this roasted garlic and herb seasoning. It's a Weber seasoning. And then I buy their Weber kicked up chicken. And if you've never had kicked up chicken, Alan, you are missing out on life. Like it got really popular on TikTok, and I personally was like, I'm not gonna fall into the TikTok craze. And one day, my mom, I don't remember what we were doing, moms and daughters, and she was like, hey, I'm gonna get this seasoning for you. You should try it. And I was like, Mom, I don't want that TikTok seasoning. And she was like, no, it's really good. Like, it's totally worth it. And ever since then, I use it on everything. Like, I use sometimes kicked up chicken, even if I'm just making pork chops, because I don't know.
That's the particular name of the spice is kicked up chicken.
Yep, it's Weber. It's the Weber brand, and it's called kicked up chicken. That's the name of the spice, and will
Okay.
it'll change your life, Alan. It changes like it just changes the whole dynamic of, because it's not spicy, but it does have a kick, and it's not overpowering. and so it blends well with the other flavors. And so I'm alternating my wings. I have this one right here. I don't know if you can see it, but this is a Dash lemon pepper seasoning that I like to buy. And I also buy Weber's garlic parm. And so I have been alternating between the Dash and the Weber garlic parm so that we have a variety of flavors of wings that we can choose from when it's time to pull them out of the oven.
So now how long do you put that in the oven for again?
45 minutes. And
What
it's
temperature?
at 375.
375.
Mm-hmm.
You're still seasoning up those last pieces of chicken, eh?
Let me tell you something. We have guests, so I'm doing 4.5 pounds of chicken right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You're
these are
feeding
the
Arby?
No, I'm just feeding people who like chicken.
Well, that's the world, I think.
Yeah. Uh, one of my very, very good friends is visiting. He and my husband are going to a concert today because for Valentine's Day, I got my husband concert tickets, and it's a show I didn't want to go to. So so I called our friend and said, "Hey, do you want to go to this show with him? Because I don't want to go, but I want him to enjoy his Valentine's Day." So he's going to be heading out to a concert tonight, and and I also like leftovers. We have an air fryer, so whenever we do leftovers, we reheat them in the air fryer on the reheat setting, and it like so much better than the microwave. I don't even have the words for how much better they are when they're reheated in the air fryer, but it's a lot better in the microwave, and like the chicken tastes fresher. So I'm making enough that we can reheat them
I
later.
even like chicken when it's cold right out of the refrigerator. I mean,
I
cold.
I oh yeah, especially if it's fried. Like that's such a late night snack. Let me check the French fries. So I mentioned that I have a finicky oven earlier, and my oven doesn't like fries. So I put the French fries in before we started seasoning, and I'm flipping them now, and they will cook for another 10 minutes. Alexa, what time is it?
So that was the chicken that you put in the oven right now?
Yeah, I put the chicken in and then I just flipped the fries. So my oven is finicky and it never cooks fries fast enough. So I put the fries in before I started the chicken. And so the French fries will be another 10 minutes. And then they'll be done. And then I'll keep them on the warming door so that they can stay fresh while the chicken cooks. But now all we have to do is wait.
Do you have a finished product you can show us?
I don't have a finished product because I cooked it live with you, but I can send you a picture of the finished product when they come out of the oven if you would like.
Well, I guess that's what we're going to have to do.
Yeah, I since I cooked them, live, I had to wait the 45 minutes till they're done, but I totally will take a picture of them when they come out and send them to you all.
So you say you like to have chicken a lot. Are there any
Yes.
special occasions you serve this particular chicken dish with before?
So a lot of times this is such an easy friend thing. When we have friends over, There's nothing like wings and fries to just, it feeds a lot of people. It's a grab and go meal. So we eat wings and fries typically if we have company. Excuse me. Or sometimes if we just want wings. We're chicken people in this house. We eat chicken every day. Like some, we're like, do you remember Bubba from Forrest Gump?
I do.
And
Bubba
how
Gump
he,
shrimp.
yeah, and how he just was like, I like fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, like all the shrimps. That's
670 different kinds of shrimp. Yes.
Yeah, that's our house with chicken. Like we don't get tired of chicken. We could eat it literally every day in a different form. We like chicken tacos, chicken fajitas, chicken on the stick, chicken like I mean just every day. We eat chicken every day.
I eat a lot of chicken too. It's a very versatile food.
It is, right? And it's I tell people because I don't want to say it's cheap, but also chicken is cheap and it's filling. Like I was shopping for groceries and bacon was almost $10
Yeah.
for a pound of bacon.
Yeah. It's a good bang for the buck protein.
It really
We
it's
all need
phenomenal.
protein.
Hmm.
Michele, thank you very much. I'd love to try one of those right now, but they're not done yet.
I know. I'm so sorry to
So,
disappoint you.
Can you tell us how people can reach out to you?
Yes. So you can contact me on Facebook at author ML Farrell. That's AUTHOR. M as in Mary, L as in Lima, Farrell, F as in Frank, ARRELL. And it's all together. So just at author ML Farrell. I have a Facebook group called Author ML Farrell's Official Group. I'm on Instagram at author ML Farrell. So, wherever you search at author ML Farrell, you can find me. Or you can email me at authormlfarrell@gmail.com.
Well, thank you very much, Michele. That sounds absolutely delicious, and I'm sure lots of people will reach out to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll definitely send you that picture once they're done. I'll put it in the Cooking Without Looking group on Facebook.
Please do.
I will. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'd also like to thank all of you for joining us today on the Cooking Without Looking February 2025 edition. If you'd like today's recipe, as well as past recipes, please go to our website at www.cookingwithoutlooking.wordpress.com. And if you would like to enjoy today's show or past podcasts, please go to our Cooking Without Looking YouTube channel. You can also check out our Cooking Without Looking podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. We're also available on all Alexa-enabled devices and the Victor Reader. You can donate to Vision World Foundation and help us support our mission to change the way we see blindness. Just go to our website at www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com and click on the link at the top of the page. Or for more information, please call area code 305-200-9104. And everyone can look for our next show in March. And thank you all so much for being with us today. On behalf of myself and Sylvia, who may well be listening down in Honduras, and Renee Rentmeester, and all of us on the Cooking Without Looking TV show and Vision World Foundation, bye for now. And bye for now. And hey, don't forget to order your official Cooking Without Looking apron. All right. Enjoy, all. Bye. What are we doing here?
You want to see what we do best?
We got the recipe for success. We don't need sight. what we got. Full of the spice of